Good morning, this is Amy Peterson with KQEG, and I have with me two special guests this morning, Ardis Cerny and Marianne Hansen, who are the co-chairs of We're Watching Wisconsin Elections of that campaign. We are on segment 2. If you would like to view the first segment that we did last evening, that is able to be viewed on YouTube under the search Eagle Initiative. Also, I'd like to give this website to you. It's uselections.com. So www.uselections.com for much more information regarding helping ensure fair elections. And that's our topic for today. So, Ardis, yes. We're talking about ways we can be involved and other issues.
Right. Well, I had just finished up speaking about how we have to get involved in legislation and what's going on in Madison in reference to elections. This last spring, the legislature brought forth a bill. It was called the Omnibus Election Bill. And this bill was unbelievable. It would have literally made voter fraud lawful. It increased taxpayer costs. It would have promoted identity theft. It overburdened our election clerks. It destroyed safeguards that were already there. This bill was unbelievable. Our group got together. We had a lit piece that went viral on the internet. We raised money to do robocalls to legislators out there. We made a real serious impact on what they were doing. We had gone to the legislative hearing on this bill, and there were a number of organizations there, all extreme left-wing organizations, and after the meeting we investigated them on the internet, and most of these organizations were funded by George Soros. And if you don't know who George Soros is, he is trying to take over our elections. So this is a very important thing that we are talking about, is for everyone to get involved in paying attention to the legislation that's out there. So I just wanted to bring that point up, that please pay attention to anything to do with elections. If you see an article in the paper, please read it and get involved and call your state legislators.
Okay, so what other issues? We've been talking, and I don't know if we want to review that, but basically about ensuring local elections, and the website should be posted, www.we'rewatchingwisconsinelections.org. We're talking about ensuring fair elections and how ordinary citizens can become involved as at the polls to help ensure these fair elections. And Marianne?
Sure. In addition to the idea of following our state statutes and asking you to volunteer to become an election observer and or a poll worker, as Ardis said, we also understand that legislation, changes to the laws that govern elections in our state and on a national level, have a great deal of impact on how and where we vote and how fair these elections will be. And we have been overwhelmed, basically, by sort of what happened in the last 3 months here in Wisconsin. Ardis was talking about the Omnibus Election Bill. That was introduced in March, I think, end of March, and we had like 15 days before the hearing was held. This was a huge bill that was going to change a lot of things about our election. And when I looked back at this, because I was looking to tell you more what was going on the national scene, all the things that were in that omnibus bill are all proposals, legislative proposals by organizations in this country whose goal it is to change the way we conduct our elections. All of those items were found in this omnibus election bill. The citizens of Wisconsin had basically no opportunity to know about this bill before it was introduced or to even have a fair chance to comment on it. We, as an organization that really looks at this sort of thing, we're scrambling to keep up with this legislation, to understand it, and to get some citizen input. So what Ardis is saying is that legislation is being proposed by organizations on a national level that want to see changes in our elections. And you ask, well, why do they want to change our elections? When you look at Wisconsin, almost 79% of the people eligible to vote in this state are registered to vote. We had one of the second highest turnouts in the last election nationwide. And when people were asked after the election about how they felt about their election experience. 90% of them were very satisfied. So why do we need changes in our system? And yet these organizations are out there. What are these organizations? Well, Project Vote is one of them. Organizing for America is another one, and they are affiliated with just massive voter registration drives. The League of Women Voters, the Brennan Law Center, the Pew Project on the States, and then sort of we're watching Wisconsin elections. So we do need help out there of people watching this legislation and talking to their legislators about it.
We are the only ones that are really doing this on our side. We are up against some national organizations.
Well funded, too.
And what happened to that bill? May I ask, in Wisconsin?
It did not pass.
Okay.
It did not have enough votes to pass. We were successful. I shouldn't say we. If there are people in your audience who helped to defeat that bill, we thank them for their efforts, but hope more people will come forward and help us with this.
It never even made it to the floor for a vote. That's how disoriented we created the party that was proposing this. So we were
and
very
was that
successful.
based on feedback from constituents who had called?
No, I don't.
Or was it?
I believe that, and I really want to tell you a little bit about some of the things that were in that bill, because those are national issues. These were all reflections of national pushes to change our elections.
And we do need to take a break in a minute. So
well, let me just give you an address then. If you want to know a little bit more about all of these different things that are going to affect our elections, Project Vote publishes a newsletter online. You can access it by going to projectvote.org, and they tell what's going on in every state in the United States as far as changes that are being proposed nationally to our elections. I would highly suggest you look at it once. It'll give you a very good picture of what's being thought of and proposed.
Thank you, Marianne, very much. We'll be back after this break.